Shedeur Sanders has recently confirmed he is waiting to go into the NFL draft until after the 2024-25 college season with his brother Shiloh. With the deadline for undergrads to commit in January, we should be seeing more news come out on what players will be returning back to school over the next month and a half. I took the time to survey the 2024 undergraduates and find the 10 players who should be leaning towards returning. This list is in order of who has the most to benefit, increasing from 10 to 1. Here are the top 10 players who should return to college football next season. Number 10, Braylon Trice. Braylon Trice is one of the top edge rusher prospects for the 2024 NFL draft, but is seemingly out of the running for the number 1 spot in the position for the class. He's currently behind Latu from UCLA, Jared Verse from Florida State, and Dallas Turner from Alabama, who are all having currently better seasons than him. If Trice decides to return for the 2024 season, he would be in competition for Edge 1 with Harold Perkins, who is less than solidified to be committed to that draft class. In 2025, there isn't a Caleb Williams level player who is going to be locking up the first overall pick all season. Therefore, the first overall pick is up in the air, which could end up being an edge rusher. Trice, who only has 3 sacks this season but leads the NCAA in pressures, could make a Trayvon Walker / Aiden Hutchinson type run his senior season into being the top pick of the draft overall. Number 9, JJ McCarthy. McCarthy is currently fighting to be the 2023 Heisman and for a berth in the college football playoffs after losing in the first round of TCU last season. If he misses out on the Heisman and or the national championship, he may be encouraged to run it back with Michigan next season. There is a current off-field distraction with Michigan when it concerns the sign stealing scandal. This off-field issue could distract from the team's success and diminish what McCarthy has done leading his team to so much success this season. While McCarthy should be a surefire first rounder in 2023, he would be the odds-on favorite to be the top quarterback drafted in 2025 over the likes of Drew Aller or Cade Klubnik if he decides to return for next season. Number 8, Jatavion Sanders. Sanders is currently the 3rd leading receiver on the Texas Longhorns offense, but still is not on pace to match his last season's offensive production in receptions, yards, or touchdowns. With Brock Bowers being in this current draft class, he has no shot to be tight end 1 and will most likely not be selected in the first round with the projected quarterback, wide receiver, and offensive tackle players at the top of this class being so high value. Returning to college football for next season, he could be the first go-to option for Arch Manning when he takes over for the Texas Longhorns offense next year. Being front and center for one of the most prolific stories in the college football season for next year, he could put his name in for the tight end 1 spot that is currently wide open and potentially make a case to be a first round prospect. Number 7, Mario Williams. Mario Williams is 3rd when it comes to receiving on USC this season, behind seniors Brandon Rice and Taj Washington despite appearing in all 10 games. Williams is a Lincoln Riley guy, transferring over from Oklahoma when Riley left from Norman to come coach USC. With the departure of Rice and Washington, as well as Caleb Williams most likely, Williams will be looked upon as the catalyst for that offense next season with whoever they're going to have starting at quarterback in 2024. Williams could return for a senior season to attempt to emerge as the number 1 receiver over Zachariah Branch and Kyron Hudson. Or he could return and transfer to a school with less competition for targets / a returning starting quarterback who can ensure he will be good as opposed to the unknown that is USC's QB situation next season. With Williams' level talent that was evident both at Oklahoma and in flashes at USC, he should be someone who can overcome his size deficiencies to become a great wide receiver in college football and push to be a first round pick if he gets in the right situation and is able to put up some good production, which he hasn't been able to at USC. Number 6, Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers is currently the poster child for the NIL money market that is currently exploding in the NCAA. He's already made $2.6 million in NIL money from both his stints in Ohio State and Texas so far. He is one of only a handful of high school prospects that shares a perfect 24/7, 5-star, 100% rating when it comes to high school prospect evaluation. However, despite his success at Texas, he has missed games in the last 2 seasons due to shoulder injuries. And now with Arch Manning waiting behind him, ready to take over the starting position for Texas, if Ewers decides to return, he would have to transfer to a different school. If Ewers does transfer, he could capitalize and get more NIL money from a 3rd school during his NCAA career, making the argument that he should declare early to make some more money mute. He could transfer to another top team who is losing a starter to the draft, potentially USC if 4-star junior Miller Moss isn't ready. Get that NIL money and prove that he can succeed in multiple systems and last through a full healthy season. With no established top quarterback in the 2025 class, assuming JJ McCarthy doesn't return as we mentioned earlier, he could be in the running for top quarterback of this draft class, and Quinn Ewers does have the talent to be a first round pick and even first overall quarterback taken. Number 5, Donovan Edwards. Edwards is regarded as a talented running back from Michigan who has potential to be a top back in a draft class. In 2022, he rushed for nearly 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns while spelling Blake Corum in that Michigan offense. However, now in 2023, he has only 230 rushing yards, and he continues to play second fiddle to Corum, who returned instead of declaring for last year's draft class. With the controversy surrounding current number 2 ranked Michigan, the certainty that next year he would be the lead back with Corum off to the NFL, and a stacked roster who will be looking to continue to compete for national championships, Edwards could establish himself as the engine of an offense for one of the top teams in the league next season. With Corum and Ohio State running back Tre'Von Henderson gone and out of pool, he would have the best opportunity to be the first running back drafted if all plays out for him. Number 4, Jalen McMillan. McMillan exploded on the scene last year in 2022 when he had 1,098 yards and 9 touchdowns. However, he's only played in 5 of the Huskies' 10 games in 2023 so far and is nowhere close to replicating those numbers he showed last year. Rome Odunze and Jalen Polk likely to commit in 2024 draft, leaving him as a top option if he returns to college football next year. He's currently pegged as a slot option in the current Huskies offense, but at 6'1", 190 pounds, he could show the ability to be an outside number 1 with both other 2 options gone. Michael Penix would also be gone in this year's draft class, so Dylan Morris is set to be the starting quarterback in 2024. He was a 4-star recruit and 5th best pro-style quarterback behind Spencer Rattler, Graham Mertz, and Talia Tagovailoa. McMillan has the opportunity to show that he can be more than just a slot option and show the versatility that teams value in top wide receiver prospects, as well as having another opportunity to show that he can last a full season without being hurt, and that one season in 2022 was more than just a blip. Number 3, Emeka Egbuka. Emeka Egbuka is similar to Jalen McMillan, where he exploded onto the scene last year, however has missed 3 games in 2023 due to an ankle injury. In 2022, he recorded 1,151 yards and 10 touchdowns, despite being the number 2 behind Marvin Harrison Jr. With Harrison being the confirmed number 1 overall wide receiver in this draft class, he's fighting off Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors, Keon Coleman, and Xavier Legette, who are all having much better seasons for him from the number 2 wide receiver drafted in this year's class. With Harrison gone next year, Egbuka could return, show he could be healthy, and as a number 1 option for Kyle McCord, who will have a whole nother offseason to improve and become the quarterback that most people project him to be. Being the number 1 receiver for one of the top teams in the nation, with an emerging quarterback throwing him the ball, should allow him to boost his stock to be the number 1 receiver next year if he all plays out right. Number 2, Chop Robinson. Robinson is seen as one of the edge players in consideration for one of the back half of the first round picks. He has 3 sacks in 2023, suffering an injury against Ohio State, which has limited his playing time as of recent. With Drew Aller returning as the quarterback for next season at Penn State, 2024 will have a lot of eyes on the team, and they are set up for long-term success. Robinson has a chance to have more time and get a productive, healthy season where he can round out his game instead of relying on speed to win for the majority of his reps. He would be a lot more established than Harold Perkins and should be one of the betting favorites to be the top overall player selected in the 2025 NFL Draft, not just Edge 1. Number 1, Carson Beck. Carson Beck's name has been in the news recently as Dane Brugler released his top 50 draft prospects for the 2024 NFL Draft class and had 7 quarterbacks in it, one of which was Beck at the 50 spot over names like Michael Penix and Bo Nix. Dane's reasoning is Beck is the quarterback of the number 1 team in the nation who has been statistically better than Stetson Bennett, who was a 4th round pick to the Rams last year. Beck was a 4-star recruit to Georgia and he made his 10th start against 9th ranked Ole Miss tonight as of recording this. Also as of recording this, he's currently 9th in passing yards but only 38th in passing touchdowns while only throwing 4 interceptions on the season. Beck has the pedigree and the team around him to really boost his draft stock. However, with so few starts and not the athletic tools of a guy like Anthony Richardson, who was able to overcome little experience because of those athletic tools and get drafted high, Beck would benefit from coming back and playing on a championship caliber team for a 2nd straight year, potentially showing that he can lead them to a championship berth, just like how Stetson Bennett was, which was his main selling point for why he should be drafted as high as a 4th round pick. Beck, being more physically talented than Bennett, should be able to come in and replicate what Bennett did, be the actual catalyst for a championship team, and if that's the case, could be best set up to succeed and become the top overall quarterback prospect in next year's draft class. Thank you for watching the video. If you think I missed any players or think any of these players would benefit more from coming out this season than next, go ahead and leave them in the comments and leave a like. Maybe subscribe if you really enjoyed it. More draft content should be coming out as the season winds down for both college and NFL seasons.